One of Faith, welcome again for another podcast. We have a very special guest. She has been on our podcast before. And so welcome, Rhonda.
Hi.
We're glad to have you back today.
Thank you.
You had a tremendous story before. We had a lot of activity on your story. So it's drawing in a lot of people and giving a lot of people hope,
Oh, praise God.
Yes. And so, your story's not over, is it?
No, it's not over.
Yes. And
It's still always going. I think it'll never be over.
that's so true.
Yeah.
We think that we're at the end, but it's really just the beginning many times.
Yes, it is. It's it is.
New beginnings.
Yay!
Even at my age.
Yeah.
We love that, And so, let's just kind of refresh our minds a little bit about last time you were on. You talked about your struggles that you had, in early childhood. You went through many traumas,
Yes.
Whether it was physical or mental abuse.
Yes.
You were heartbroken and you received soul wounds. You were told over and over you're worthless. And you had to live under that impression and thoughts for many years. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of led you in a spiral downward spiral as far as, life. And you talked about the pain was so great that you just wanted to suppress it any way you could.
Yes.
Yeah,
and then I found that the best way to suppress for myself at that time was through chemicals, through drinking, maybe doing drugs. Well, not maybe, but doing drugs and taking pills. It was just my way of numbing the pain, hiding the pain, because I was ashamed of what was going on to me.
Right.
And I didn't want anybody to know, so it was a cover-up.
I bet many people can relate to your story because they've probably been through similar situations in life where they didn't come from the greatest family life, and they were probably abused mentally and maybe some physically, and that really takes a toll on your soul. And so they had to live under that impression that they were worthless. They're no good. They're never going to amount to anything. And so, many times, they're looking for love. They're looking for acceptance, and they go down the wrong road for that many times.
Yes.
Try to kill the pain, like you said.
Yes. Yeah. Just killing the pain. For me, I think I shared before that it was through drinking alcohol and opiates. Mm-hmm. And I struggled with that for a long time, taking all of that because I wanted to fit in.
Right.
The lie is that the alcohol made me feel better, made me feel good. It allowed me to, be the person I always wanted to be. I was more outgoing. I laughed a lot more. Mm-hmm. I felt better. And it hid and it numbed the pain that I didn't want to face or didn't want anyone else to know about. It was just an excitement almost, actually.
After all those years of being tortured in your mind, it's like finally some relief.
Yeah,
finally I can laugh.
All right, so from the time in 2001 when I started drinking until I got sober in 2005, my drinking started out with just, trying some alcohol, just not trying it for the first time, but just wanting to have a little nightcap. And before I knew it, I was drinking every day because I started to enjoy it. It was a way for me to relax and kind of settle the night and, kind of just relax. It was the me time that I have been wanting.
Right.
And I remember it just becoming part of my daily life. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to describe, I guess, when someone, like for myself, when I was going through the addiction, like what happened, what changed. It just brought up all the memories again of in my past from my traumas, being told you're no good, you're never going to amount to anything. I never finished college. I started, I did really well.
Right.
I never finished college, I didn't really have the best jobs in the whole world, Mm-hmm. I started thinking about that. My husband and I struggled with paying bills at times. We struggled with having our electricity turned off. Pretty much we had food in the house, although I didn't always know what I was going to cook on the daily basis, but we've had things turned off. But drinking became my life. It became something that I did so much not want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, but I did. When the point came to where the alcoholism changed, and it wasn't feeling in the beginning, I'm feeling relaxed, I feel really good, and then all of a sudden it changes, and then alcohol's not making me feel good about myself anymore, because now I'm drinking and I don't want to drink this much. I started with a shot, and then I had one shot, then it was 2 shots of whiskey, then it was 3 shots of whiskey. Next thing I know, during this 5-year period, and I've gone from a little bit every day to drinking a little half pint a day, and I did that every day for years, and then the half pint went to a pint. Then I was drinking that every day for a year, several years. When those changes started, I don't know, but I do know during those times, I do know that I had to drink, because I wanted to relax. I wanted to forget. This is still me wanting to numb out my past.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Wanting to numb out the pain that has now been haunting me my whole entire life. I have these kids. I feel like a failure. I failed myself. I'm not a good wife. I'm not a good daughter, because now I'm drinking.
Right.
So I have a lot of, you're no good, you're never going to amount to nothing. Oh, now you're not a good mom. Now you're a drunk mom.
Right. See what you're doing. See to yourself. Exactly. So somebody was helping you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now in my head, now you're a drunk mom.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm a drunk mom. I don't want my family to know I'm a drunk mom, so I'm staying I think I'm staying sober during the day when I'm not, because I'm still reaping the repercussions from the night before. So I had all this stuff going on, and I started hanging out in my room quite a bit, not coming out to be a mom because I was too drunk to be a mom. And then I feel bad because I'm not doing this. I'm not the mom my daughters needed.
Now guilt upon guilt upon guilt. Yeah.
So now how does Rhonda want to change that? She drinks more.
That's right.
And then she drinks more.
Yeah.
And then she drinks so much more, to where, I know I mentioned before in our other podcasts that I was in the hospital. Before I was in the hospital in rehab, but before I was in the hospital for rehab, I ended up in the hospital. And when that part came into, when that came up in 2005, because I'd been drinking so much and numbing so much, I didn't know anything anymore. And the alcohol turned into where I was drinking a 1/5 a day. And a 1/5 is good sized bottle. It's kind of like a big bottle of, almost kind of reminds me, it's larger than half a gallon.
Okay.
Kind of size of alcohol, consuming that daily, on top of that, taking pills, and then feeling bad about myself, staying in my room all the time. And I started drinking more and more because wanting to drink or wanting to numb the pain, that changed from, I don't want to do this anymore, but I have to do it now. I have to do this. I have to get up in the morning. I have to drink. Because if I don't, then I'm not going to feel normal anymore. Because to me, normal was feeling numb, having alcohol, drinking it. Because if not, my body is going to start feeling physically, I'm going to start feeling not good.
Yes.
To describe it, I felt like I had chills and ants crawling from the inside trying to get out. I couldn't get out of bed unless I drank. I couldn't go to sleep unless I drank. I couldn't talk to you unless I drank. I couldn't do anything.
Right.
So alcohol went from, this is fun, I feel good, I feel like I can do anything I want to do because now I fit in, to, I can't do everything I want to do because I have to have alcohol so that I can feel like I'm a person and fit into society in a different way.
You had complete control over you at this time.
Yes. By this time I had complete control. And where was God in all of this? Jesus, where were you? And when I say that, I don't mean it like I didn't believe in God. I want to kind of remind myself too. I was saved at a very young age. I knew who Jesus was. I knew who he was. I knew about him, I would pray and cry out to him all the time. God, where are you? You know, I don't know where you are. You know, I can't do this. I want to stop. But I started feeling separated from him too now.
Oh, this is a further punishment. We'll just show
Yes.
you. You're not accepted to anybody on earth or heaven.
Exactly. No. You know, and then having my past from like having religious moves,
Right.
you know, feeling like God wasn't this loving God. He was this God who I was also told through people from
Right.
church and being young, and maybe that was the time that, you know, God's watching you. You know, he's watching everything that you are doing. You better watch out. Like God just pointing his finger at me and he's going to thump me. He's going to take that ruler stick and crack my hands with it.
So many people have that same thought and analogy about God, and that's really a lie from hell.
Yes,
isn't it?
and it is.
Yeah.
And so like when alcoholism, I knew it was out of control. I honestly knew that I had a problem, but I wouldn't accept it.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to, because if I accepted it and I admitted it, then I admitted that I'm drinking too much, or I would admit that, you know, Rhonda, maybe you're an alcoholic.
Yeah, you had to face it. You didn't want to face it.
I didn't want to face it because I didn't want anyone to know my secret. See, now that was a secret that I had.
Right.
Another secret that I couldn't share with anybody, that I was having to cover up with alcohol.
Yes.
Because because now I needed this alcohol to survive. And I would cry out to God a lot.
While you were drinking, and then this whole
yeah, and I used to write in a journal a lot.
Oh, good.
And I have a journal that I wrote in when I was drunk,
yes,
crying out to God. So I have this journal and things that I have wrote to myself and to God.
Right.
And I want to share that I remember the last cry out to the Lord I had, and I think I shared before, was, God, where are you? You know, I can't do this anymore. I remember saying, Lord, where are you? You know, I don't feel you here anymore, because my world, a side note, my world at that time from alcohol was dark and void.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time. There was a place that only somebody that's in your position could describe.
Yeah.
You know, the absence of nothing.
Yeah.
Darkness and nothing, cold.
Yeah, it was cold. There's darkness. There was nothing there. It was like crying out, but not even hearing my own voice.
Right.
You know, screaming. There's times I would say to people they'll be like, on the outside, you know, oh, you seem so relaxed and stuff, but inside my brain, I am standing on a mountaintop screaming at the top of my lungs, but yet I can still sit here today and talk, you know, or still sit there and talk about what's going on. But inside, there is a scream in my head, just trying to get everything out. And then that's kind of how I felt. But no one heard it. No one was there.
It's kind of like leading a double life. Yes. You know, let me show you what I want you to know, what I want you to see, but I'm not going to show you the real self.
Exactly,
the real me.
Because what is on the outside is not what's going on inside my mind, inside my heart, inside my home.
Yeah.
And it's not like I want you to think I'm perfect or I'm good. I just don't want you to know the truth, because if you know the truth, then maybe you won't like me.
Oh,
you know, you won't accept who I am.
Yes.
But the drinking so much. So I remember, I do have memories of the last day I drank.
Okay. Is this just before you went to the hospital?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what got me there.
Okay.
So I mentioned before I lost my cousin and her children to, it was a tragedy. We lost them, and they were taken from us. And that was, I said 1995, but I never said the day. Or the dates. So it was December 16th, 1995. And then also another day was this 17th of December. November. And so we lost them. That was such a shock to our family, because the way that they were taken from us. And so I had that pain all the time. I carried it. So I had been drinking a lot. And it was like and I had taken a friend of mine over to see the gravesite for my cousin and her kids. And I didn't tell her I'd already started drinking that day and I already consumed quite a bit of opiates. And I took her over to the grave and I showed her and said, "This is my cousin and her kids." And the day that I took her over there was November 16th, 2005.
Okay.
And I just kind of remember standing there telling her the story and what had happened and how, how much I missed her and that. And so my friend Jody and I go back, and I lived in Illinois at the time. So my friend Jody and I go back to the house, and she drops me back off at my house and goes away. And then I went downstairs and immediately started drinking more. And it was probably 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. And by that time I had already consumed quite a bit of opiates and alcohol. I probably had by that time, from when I woke up, had already drank almost a fifth of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to her on the phone, and she came back to get me because she'd said I sounded kind of odd on the phone. And I went to her home. She took me to her house, but on the way there, I told her we need to stop at the store so I can get more alcohol, and I bought another fifth of alcohol. That time in my life, I was probably like 110 pounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I was not eating, I was drinking. Drinking was my food. Drinking was my life. That's how I survived. That's how I coped. That's how I functioned.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So at this point, alcohol is now consumed every part of me.
Right.
It's no more hiding behind a mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's surviving behind a mask now.
Uh-huh.
And we go to her house, and I just remember drinking. And then I blacked out.
Okay.
And my last memories before I went into the hospital were her trying to walk me down these stairs of an apartment. We come out the door, and she tells me, "Rhonda, you're going to have to stand up because I can't carry you."
Right.
And I'm like, okay. I tried, but I fell back into bushes. Blacked out, or I shouldn't say blacked out, I should say I lost my memory.
Mm-hmm.
My next memory is of 2 paramedics lifting me up out of this bush and laying me on this gurney. And I remember just their uniform in a face, and then being on the gurney, and then seeing the lights. Like, so they have you on your gurney, and then they pushed me into the back of the ambulance.
Right.
And I remember going in, nothing.
Mm.
Nothing after that. That was still November 16th.
Okay.
That was the 10-year anniversary date when I lost my cousin. I don't remember anything. The next thing I remember. Well, let me say, I will tell you what happened.
Okay.
I lost consciousness and I was non-responsive. And I ended up in a coma.
Okay.
But I ended up in critical care. And then I ended up in ICU at the hospital, and I ended up going in and went into a coma because of my drinking. After I came out of after I was in critical care for like 2 days.
Okay.
Probably another 2 days in ICU, and then after that I was still in the hospital. So about a week, I'm going to say, for 1 week I was in the hospital so they could sober me up.
Mm-hmm.
I went into a coma. They told my mom that every day that goes by, or every minute that goes by, they said, "You're gonna be lucky."
So every minute counted.
Every minute counted.
Mm-hmm.
They told my mom that the doctor told my mom, and now my husband, so he's in the picture, but he's traveling. So
Right.
he's gone when all this is going on. He's in
Uh-huh.
Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh.
They had to emergency fly him in.
Okay.
They couldn't really get him in until like the next day. I think I was still in the coma when he got there.
Mm-hmm.
They told my mom, the doctor told my mom that he's done, if I can say, autopsies. He's done autopsies on individuals who have drank theirself,
Right.
you know, and not survived. On autopsies on people who had less blood alcohol level than I did, because I had a 0.453,
Mm-hmm.
which a point I shouldn't be alive.
Right.
And every day was just going to have to be
a gift for your mom.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then my husband came. When I came out of I came out of a coma, and then I was still drunk.
After a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when they sent me to rehab, and I'm saying all this, but I do have a story about in there too.
Right.
When I went to rehab, I would have still considered legally drunk, because I still was like at a 0.1 something or other. So I was still drunk when I went to rehab.
Yeah.
And I had been in the hospital like 7 days.
Wow.
I had so much alcohol in my system that I shouldn't even be here.
Right. That's a miracle. God had a different plan, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But when I was at the hospital in the coma, now I don't know what people might think, but I had an experience in there where I felt like I kind of woke up a little bit, but that dark voided place that I was in, I was sitting in a room, so I want to say it was like, I don't know, an NDE, you know?
Right.
And
so you were still in the coma, but you were awake in your coma, or you actually came out of the coma?
I was awake in my coma.
Okay,
so
gotcha. Okay, right. Okay, gotcha.
So in this experience that I had, I kind of felt like I woke up a little bit, but I was in this really dark place.
Okay.
And it was cold in there, and I was sitting and I was waiting, and I felt like I was sitting on cement, and it felt cold and wet, but not wet.
Right.
You know, and it was so, I cannot describe the silence that was there, nor can I discover how dark or describe how dark it was. It was so dark in there, like I can't, maybe like being in a pit of a cave. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to wait, and I had to wait for something. And I was waiting, and then the next thing that I see is my cousin Debbie.
Okay, the one that had unfortunately passed away.
Yes, I saw her, and when we talked, we was kind of more with our minds,
right,
back and forth and talking that way. And she said that I needed to come with her. And the next thing that I remember is her and I walking in a garden. And we were talking about a lot of things, and we were talking about my struggles and with the drinking and that. And that she told me that it's not time for me to go.
Wow.
And
so this is a God dream. This is a God happening. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She said, it's not time for you to go yet. And I told her that I just said, but I don't want to go back.
Yes.
Don't want to go back.
Right. Too much pain.
Too much.
That's why you're here.
Yeah. I said, I don't want to go back. Like, just want to be here. And she said, I was allowed and I was sent to bring you back, so you can go back home, because your family needs you. You know, they all need you. And I'm like, but I'm not. And she said, go back. So. And then I just remember kind of almost being like sucked back.
Okay.
And then waking up. But I don't remember anything except opening up my eyes. And my mom was right next to me, but I didn't know it was my mom. And I said, Mom, I saw Debbie. And she said, I know you did. And I just remember these tears coming out, you know, down the side of my cheeks. And then I don't remember anything else because I was blacked out for the week I was there. So I'm in critical care in ICU. I come out from the coma in ICU. Now I'm in a hospital bed, you know, moved in this bed, and they're trying to sober me up so that I can go and detox finally.
Right.
Because they hadn't even started that because I was so full of alcohol in my system
Right.
because of my own trying to cover stuff
Right.
and hide behind pain.
Right.
And I don't even remember all of that. So then they sent me to detox. And I'm in detox for 7 days
Wow.
before I was now considered not legally drunk or drunk at all anymore. I don't know.
You might be on the record books at that hospital, you know?
Exactly. So you're there 2 weeks later, right? So then I go to this rehab, and I'm in rehab for like what felt like a lifetime, but it was a lifetime that I needed.
Right.
There because it, you know, I was there. But when I was detoxing, the fogs started lifting off of me. And I was like, how did I get here? You know, what happened? And I would say, like, God, what happened? Because I don't understand. You know, why am I still here?
Right.
You know, I don't get it.
Do you still remember the Deborah, is it Debbie? Coming in and talking to you, that was still prevalent in your mind?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay.
It's never gonna go away.
Right.
It
Okay.
was so real. You know, and I still remember that. I remember our conversation, although it's not word for word.
Right.
But I do know she stressed a lot of me. It's not your time yet.
Well, you know, this is a God thing. He had to make an impression on you that would last.
Yes.
And that's the thing about visions and you know, visitations.
Yes.
You know, he wants you to remember it, to stay with you, and don't forget it.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
don't forget. And little did I know that was all. That was just the beginning, you know, of everything. So the Lord let me walk through, you know, a lot of trying to understand. And he's such an amazing God because he just gives it to you little at a time.
I know.
You know? It's not so overwhelming to where you're like, there you
Right.
go. You know,
Yes.
here on to there. I'm going to throw you into the midst. Deal with everything again. It's not how it works. Because he's so loving and patient and kind and gentle.
He knows exactly what to say at that time, and then the next time he knows exactly what to say.
Yes.
That's how brilliant he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just allowed the fog to lift, you know, and allowed me to say, what happened?
Yeah.
So he allowed me to, you know, kind of just starting the very beginning of starting to get like real with myself.
Right.
You know, real with reality. You know, now here starts this great big huge journey that I'm going to have to walk through a lot, you know, still to get to where God wants me, and I'm still walking that path. But
was it a realization because, you know, you had called out to him, God, where are you? Did you realize that was from him and he was speaking to you, like he was kind of answering your prayer heart, you know, through that one visitation?
At the time, no.
Okay.
And I have to be very honest.
Yes.
At that time, I did not.
Gotcha.
Because I was confused because I never in my life at that time was like, I never wanted to become so close to death
right.
of my own being and doing that it was not my intention.
Right.
Ever. I just wanted to feel normal and
right.
not to have to deal with my past.